This is day 555, the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. I just want to come share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Please tell me directly. Very greatly appreciate it. Today we're doing Siman Shin Nun Ches. Shin Kav Ches, excuse me. Siman Shin Kav Ches, Sif Nun Hey. The Siman Shin Kav Tes, Sif Dalet. So, we'll finish up Nun Hey. Chazaram Perchav Avdin Chavav. Rambam writes, how so? Not to eat things which are not for food for healthy people. So Azov Yavon Upua. Nor things which cause diarrhea. Shouldn't drink things that healthy people don't drink. Such as water in which you cook spices and grasses. I'm going to eat food which and drink drinks which healthy people normally drink. Shosim is always good. You can't wash in waters which cause diarrhea. Nor in pitch, which literally means to sink in, but I guess it's some sort of therapeutic soaking. And also not in water which has been used for soaking flax, which also evidently is used for the purpose of medical purposes. Not the Dead Sea, which we know is for medical purposes. Nor in the brackish water in the Mediterranean. These all cause anguish. See, Shabbos Oneg, call Shabbos a day of pleasure. So if you didn't spend time with them, we went in and immediately got out. Even though you have dandruff or something else on your head which is causing you itches, it's permissible, evidently because it's not so nicker, that's the refuah, even though it does help. The a healthy person doesn't have mind for refuah, he can even tarry in these waters. And if it's going down to a mikveh, then he can eat tarry in the waters as well, because he's going to the mikveh. Happens to be healing, but he's going for the mikveh. It does end evidently with the tzarech ear and all this. Back to Arukh HaShulchan. Because before this, the Rambam wrote, Yisrael, you can't stand in the land, the ground in Yumsis. That's where Elizabeth B'das. I remember who went. No, Elizabeth Arukh went there, forgot his learning. So the shouldn't go to the Yumsis because the stand on the ground because it's therapeutic. Ashmei Shema Meles, it I guess works the flesh, rapas and heals. I can't show. Time of the Rambam. Some of the things around the list are not known to us. The time of the Eno Osir Ela Baloni Shtahen. I'm not sorry. From this we can extrapolate Lidvar Medulla, the things which are known to us. The time of the Eno Osir Baloni Shtahen Ma'im Roim. At least that's not Osir where you don't tarry in the water, which I just hypothesized about before, but now the Rosh will explain. You should the Mercy can make it, because if you go down very briefly, it looks like you're just going to cool yourself off. You can wash yourselves with, literally these are hot springs. And in the good water in the Mediterranean, even though they're salty. Because people do wash themselves. Like it's not clear, not evident that he's doing it for a fool. What it says, but were these hot springs only to use for fool, then you're not allowed to tarry them over Shabbos. You can say incantations over. Say scorpions that they shouldn't damage you. Mishabura says this is only if they're at a distance they're not immediately going to attack you. Because if they're immediately going to attack you, then that's because nefesh. Just go and grab them and kill them. Rosh Hashanah says obviously incantation is not a it's not Seder because it's just an incantation. Nothing clear gabe ayin lo care. You put a vessel on your eye to cool it down. Wushia klenito Shabbos, as long as it's a vessel which can be carried on Shabbos, not muktzah. This is healing for a person who feels bad in his eye. No medicines involved. It's just a therapy. If you don't that's how you're allowed to do it. But Tabas is sign, and so you're allowed to put a ring around the eye. There's a splash and effort that some puffing that should not spread. You can also put pressure on with a knife on a wound that should not expand. Again, these are therapeutic, not medicinal. Nun Zain. Also, you can't put a garment on a wound which is gushing blood, because the blood will color the garment. Even though you're ruining a garment, it's the Rabbanan to do it. Is also, except we said, cases of Ocha. And certainly the garment is red, that you've got not ruining it, although in that case, you don't seem to be coloring it either. The name of the Shabura has a significant kula here, which is logical. And the Shas of Chak, and the Chronim agreed you can be Meko. Because it's derech lichluch, not derech, it's not derech kibbutz, it's derech lichluch. It's not derech tzviyah, it's derech lichluch. V'il yesh l'chot samak, but nevertheless, Arukh HaShulchan seems to be machmir. Says, v'il yesh l'chot samak b'mayim, we should wash the wound with water, or b'yayin tchila, or with wine first. Akosadam, to clean off the blood, chakir nechla b'beger, and then put the garment or the rag on that, hamuchim Shabbos, if it's prepared for Shabbos, it's not muktzah. In some stations, korech achabish. Okay, new one on me. You put spider webs, shikorin svenstia lamaka on the wound. Mechazim es kol adam, and you can cover them the entire blood. Ves kol chabura on the wound. And then you put on it a rag. Those litztava mi adam, because they won't color from the blood. I guess spider webs make kind of like plastic barrier. That's when the spider, those fibers of the spider's web are prepared. You look at a muktzah, you can't just grab spider's webs on Shabbos. The muktzah. Also, you can't put pressure with your hands on the wound. Because by doing that, blood is going to come out and because of extraction. You don't be high if you really want the blood, so I'm not sure about that. You also shouldn't tighten the bandage on this account. Certainly not allowed to use leeches on Shabbos, which suck blood. If it's not a chola who is in danger, he's certainly not allowed to let blood on Shabbos. Nun hey, also assume sila b'via kral shekoin krishitzar. This is some sort of a what's it called? In Yom Kippur they use them. You put caffeine and Tylenol on them. Suppository. You can't put like people do for people who are constipated. That is a form of refuah. The Mishnah says that to make the suppository Shabbos, even if you put paper around it in order to strengthen it, this is the rice because of makim and patish, unless the kol sheish b'sagan, obviously. But you can put it if you use a piece of turnip, smutzer. I don't know how that works. Okay. Yes, it may. Back to Arukh HaShulchan. You have to make a shina. This is important because on Yom Kippur people do use suppositories, and I don't know that they come with instructions to do it with a shinui. So you have to use it hold with your two fingers. You put in gently. Feel like Mishnah said, obviously has to be ready from before Shabbos. There's interesting Mishnah Berurah. He says, the reason I have to put in gently is because if you're going to do it several times, twist your fingers around there, then you're going to probably take hair off. So it's a problem of gozes. Can't be the raisa, but it's probably it's never should be skavin. I guess it's the old situation. Anyway, can't make whatever that is, make the suppository that way. But this is the raisa, I guess. Mishnah Berurah said this is the raisa. So you can only make them for a sick person who's in danger. Kastir Pashi, you call us say the shinui simple suppository, you can do it through a shinui. You should know we should also lead in correct pay. So those who forbid putting those spider webs on a wound because it's healing. It's like the Einam Rapeh. I don't think it actually heals. It arrests the blood. Like that thing in Mikrofu, I don't know if that's called healing. Because by a wound, the flow of blood is not a danger, so that you need a healing. Eladavamos, it's repugnant. By Koreach Lish, and these spider webs, they impede the blood. But the web itself is muktzeh. By the any Yehudi nearly the mutter. So non-Jew thinks it's mutter. I understand only the non-Jew should take the fibers. Comes down, put them where the blood is coming out. Okay, I wonder. According to this, I don't know. David HaMelech was asked the Kodesh Baruch Hu why he created spiders. Yeah, you created spiders instead of the web for the blood. Okay, but it's the new one on me. Shin Chavtes. Amam Shabbos. So, what other things are Mechal Shabbos for? Pranis what the Kol Pikuach Nevesh Doto Shabbos. You already explained Ein Pikuach Nevesh Doto Shabbos. Vazayis, there is in Shubach, and the person who makes haste is praiseworthy. You can extinguish and put a block in front of a fire. If the fire fell into a courtyard with it and there's a dangerous sakonis such as somebody sick is there or somebody or young children, because people are very discombobulated. It would be very difficult to extract them there, that they should not get damaged. Maybe their bodies are going to get damaged. Musa says later that case you're allowed to put out the fire. He goes to bring buckets full of water through in order to interrupt the fire. We also have to do both things. Both putting extinguishing and putting a block. Fake the light of speak. You're not sure, perhaps one of the two won't be suffice. Even if the fire is in a different chotzer, but there's a concern that might pass into this courtyard. And to this courtyard, there is a sick person, or children, you can extinguish or block the fire. And even if you can take out the child or the sick person, but you're going to take them out through Rishus HaRabim, it's better to extinguish the fire. Because in that case, you're not extinguishing the fire in order to build a new fire. The patur of it was in the Torah, and according to most poskim, you're exempt on a Torah level. Mishiotzian, that's superior than removing the Rishus HaRabim to have a malacha, which would be a av malacha, because here you want to get them to a safe place. Well, I'm not sure about that, because maybe you just want to get them out. It's not okay, but in any event, Mishnah Bura says, the Chai Adam says that in his opinion, it's better to go to Rishus HaRabim than to extinguish. The exact opposite. Mishnah Bura says, according to Magen Avram, where's the next thing? It says, "We'll tell the Carmelists, Shazeh Issa the Rabbanan." Yeah, and they'll tell you how to Carmelists, of course, better take Rishus HaRabim because only the Rabbanan. And just like the Melachshen Tzich L'Gufa. Like the Rambam, Shvas Melachshen Tzich L'Gufa Chayav. According to Rambam, past Melachshen Tzich L'Gufa is Chayav. According to him, have a kibui. The extinguishing fire would be a deraisa. The Mishnah Berurah says, Magen Avram says that even for our Rishus HaRabim, which is not necessarily real Rishus HaRabim, I guess about it was almost wide, but it doesn't have 600,000. I'm not sure. It's better to extinguish the fire. To be kiddush. Base, Kasav Rambam, Perik Beis Din Chav. I think it's probably censorship. It says a courtyard which has bandits and Jews. I think this means non-Jews and Jews. Even one Jew and 1,000 non-Jews. Nephilim, Apolis, and an avalanche falls there. But you remove the avalanche from everybody. They so because there's one Jew there. One of them goes to another courtyard, also chotzer, and the avalanche is into the other chotzer. Even though it's only one, and usually say call the parsh miruba parsh, but whoever goes from a group is from the majority, and therefore we assume it's a non-Jew. No, we still do bikuach nefesh. Don't go after the rove by bikuach nefesh. Shemin says shapir shal yisrael because maybe the one who left was a Jew. Nekukulam michatzers do if all of them left this courtyard. Lech chatzer cheres. Go to another courtyard. Based on kiras and pir shechamem nichas chatzer cheres. And while they were moving, one of them split off from the main group. He went into another courtyard. And a avalanche fell on him. Then he'll do a mihu, and we don't know who it is. In this case, and mefakim love. You don't remove the avalanche. Since they all were moving, there's no Jew. In other words, at the time, I don't know exactly why it's called part should say here, not the previous case, just because it was kavua and the one chutzah. Once they move. So I'm not sure why there's a difference here. Anyway, but that's what he says. Anybody who separates in the group when they're walking, we soon comes to the majority. We saw that the majority were Jews, even though they all brooded. And so one of them went to another chutzah. And avalanche fell on him. Because left of the road, so therefore we remove the avalanche. So all this is from the Rambam. So maybe Arukh HaShulchan is going to explain the differences. Period 1. What it means to say is the Hodein Ochi B'Kuach Nefesh Achar Rov, that which don't follow B'Kuach Rov majority by B'Kuach Nefesh, and El B'Shas HaKviyos. It's only when everything is stationary. So Gam B'Chol Yisum, that's all prohibitions. The Kol Kabuk Mechza Mechza Dami. Everything stationary, it's like 50-50. וגם אפילו פירוש איך מן הקבוע ונפל הספק הזה, and even one left the kavua, and the suffix found that person. Shekvar Piresh, who left the group. The potential here is Kemam Nitzah Lacharov, by the 9 stores, and to sell one thing, another kosher, one sells trade, we go after the majority. We don't follow the road. We don't follow the majority. We do take over the avalanche over it, out from over it. But if all of them uprooted, except in this courtyard, and each one is going separately to their own place. In other words, they're not moving in a body; they're separating out. And while they're walking, one of them separated. We came to this place in another chutzah. The avalanche fell on him. We don't remove the avalanche. Came to the kliyus bata legamrei. It's only where there's a kavua, which is stationary, which is an initial point of reference. But where the kliyus is batel, go after the majority. So the majority were Jews, of course. After the shenekru, even though they all are on the move, kulam mefakim. We remove the avalanche. Not necessarily just the majority, who are the mechza, 50-50. But since he's not talking about the precise parameters of rov and miut, he just said in general, Naki Lashon miut, he said majority, minority, and didn't take into account the 50-50. The bracket says, can you refarish? That's what I think the pshat is the Rambam. Whatever the question is, he speaks of that in Evan Ezer. Das Rashi v'Tosfos v'Yuma, in Pirush Kol Michatzera Zev, all of them moved from this courtyard. Inspired Nichnas Chacham Michatzera Cheres, and one of them entered another courtyard. V'Nafal Mapoles, and the avalanche fell all on him, Mefakim. We do that to remove the avalanche, not like the Rama. Came the only Froshim Huchtaku Yisrael, since among these who are moving, there is definitely one Jew, Enochin Acharov, no from the majority. I feel Shapirshu, even they're on the move. For Lokim Chol not like any other Isser. Avak Shapirshu Miktasim Michotz Zeh, Achar, V'Charim Min Froshim Nichas Chotz Acheres, not for a bonus. But if if a few of them went for moving those to this chutzner, and one of those few went to another chutzner, it's like a fake sveiko. Nafla poles and the avalanche fell on him. Aim of hakim. Came on Shiloh so many pressure because we don't know that there was a Jew in the second group. There's no definite Jew. Only came Pirshu Ruban, unless the majority moved or Mechza, at least 50%. I mean, there's that. Because then we say it's like the Avi Q, Zaki Summon Frush, it's as if a Jew is assumed to be in the ones who separate themselves. The same so we'll go after the majority. Mechza Kurov, Liam Bikov Nevesh. It's 50-50 in terms of Nevesh, that's like a majority. Chaim Pirshu, Ravid, Varamban, much class of Magim Mishkashom. Bir Alocha writes that Rashi holds that if they went through the second yard, even though they didn't make a new group there, but rather everybody goes on his own way, and the avalanche fell on one of them, we move the avalanche. In other words, they don't have to reconstitute as the second group in order to say this. You saw that. Places adds that if they pass through the courtyard one after another, and the person upon whom the avalanche fell, it's after a majority or 9 out of 10 have left, and there's only one left, you still remove the avalanche. And the Tesim Kippurim and the Rechach Masarim, right? The Rambam also doesn't argue on this. I guess that would require a lot greater detail to analyze. Dalit. But Tushar also based because Karambam. Tiani Arbeinu Beis Yosef. I'm astonished that Beis Yosef she's Chil Beloshin Ein Hochim B'Kol Nefesh Achar Rov. He said we don't follow Rov B'Kol Nefesh, but that's not true. Rambam we follow the Rambam. Lav Kol K'Moshe Yisbar. That's the Rambam to Lo Yischil Beloshin Zen. Rambam to in fact did not bring down this principle. I mean, because Nevesh Acharov. The B'tshuva, and in response to him, Beer Ramam the low common command Mar Elohim because Nevesh Acharov. We don't hold like the opinion that by because Nevesh don't follow the majority. It says the bracket said the Kesem Mishnah. I am the Kesem Mishnah. Saying Zen Echliku Shmuel Rabbi Yochanan, like Rabbi Yochanan. I guess Shmuel holds Elohim because Nevesh Acharov. Like Shmuel holds the same thing by the Moments Elohim B'Momen Acharov. But Paz Halos like Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, so next time we get together, we're going to see how the Arukh HaShulchan resolves this issue.